Another common activity or task with a two-dimensional array is to find the lowest value in a particular row. So what we do is this. We go back to our nested for loop. We set r to 0, 0 less than 3, and we create a variable called lowest. And what we do is we put lowest is assigned score sub r0. Now basically, here's what happens. Is you take the data that's in this position here, in the first row, the very first cell, and you put that into the variable lowest. And then one at a time, you're going to compare what's in this cell to lowest. If this is less than what's in lowest, you'll put this in the lowest. If not, you'll move on to this one. Is this less than lowest? And if it is, you'll put that in the lowest. And then you move on to this one. And if this is less than lowest, you put that in the lowest. And when you're done checking all 4 of these cells, you've got the lowest value. So here's what happens. Lowest is assigned score sub r0, and then C is 1. Not 0, but 1. Is 1 less than 4? And then if score sub rc is less than lowest, lowest is assigned score sub rc. And then when we get through the inner for loop, right here, we have found the lowest value for that particular student. And then we could actually display it with the cout statement here. Now that's just the lowest score for one student. Then what would happen is r would become 1. 1 is less than 3. And then we would assign lowest score sub 1, 0. That would be this value. Lowest gets this value. And now we're going to go through each of the contents of these cells for the second student. Okay? Now, the interesting thing I want to say about this is that since we always assign lowest score sub r0, there's no sense in ever doing a test to compare lowest to the value in the first cell. I mean, lowest is always assigned the first value here in each row. Why do we want to go ahead and compare lowest to the first value in each row if it is that? So what we do is we just avoid an unnecessary test. We always make C start out here with 1. So the very first test is going to be if score sub R1 is less than lowest, lowest is assigned score sub R1 and continue on in the row. Now, how would I actually use the lowest score to calculate the average? Let's take a look. Now I'm going to combine calculating an average with finding the lowest. Okay, so I'm going to say R is 0, 0 less than 3, total is 0, and lowest is assigned score sub R0. Now I have to put this back to 0 here because if I don't put C at 0, I'm never going to accumulate the first item in each cell or in each row. So I go ahead and make C 0. And lowest is assigned score sub R0, total is 0. Now I accumulate total, and I actually will go ahead and find the lowest. And when I'm done with this inner for loop, for each row, I have the total and the lowest. And look what I do. Average is equal to total minus lowest divided by 3.0. And then I'm going to display the average for that student. So here I've actually combined finding the average for each row with finding the lowest score for each row and dropping the lowest score from the total. So in essence, I've dropped each student's lowest score and not counted them in the average.